Welcome to the reading of A Good Kind of Trouble, chapters 25 through 33. I'm going to start on chapter 25, which is titled Black Power. And today we're going to be taking a look at some slang and idioms that show up throughout the chapters that understanding them will really help you understand the story. So let's begin. Page 139, Black Power. After fifth period, on my way to shop, I run right into Principal Trask. Like, literally. She turned the corner the same time I did, and wham! Sorry, I say, and I try to rush off. But she stops me. She looks me up and down and frowns. Young lady, do you really think it's appropriate to wear that to school? So right now we're on page 139, and the expression is looks me up and down. And that means to give someone a really nasty attitude and to be looking them up and down with a look of disgust on your face. Remember, Shayla came to school dressed as a Black Panther, and her white principal, Principal Trask, does not like that. And so that is part of systemic racism, to be criticizing someone for wearing this Black Panther outfit to school on Halloween, and then to not be making comments about some of the other costumes that have shown up at the school. So we're going to be on the third paragraph, starting with the word I look down at myself. I look down at myself because I don't know what she's talking about. This? I've seen girls in ridiculously flashy, slinky costumes today that seem inappropriate, but there doesn't seem to be anything wrong with what I have on. Yes, glorifying such a violent time in history, such a violent movement? Principal Trask shakes her head. Just doesn't seem like a good idea, does it? She tips her head to one side, waiting for an answer. My mouth goes dry, and my heart is pounding so hard it feels like someone's beating it like a drum. And my hands are on fire. But I want to say how the Black Panthers weren't about violence, but my mouth won't cooperate. Maybe you should take it off, Principal Trask suggests, almost as if she's being helpful. I'm not sure she's actually telling me I have to, but I sure don't want to. But no way can I get into principal level trouble. Mama would kill me. Okay, I finally say. I slide the beret off of my head and I wriggle out of Daddy's coat. Luckily, under that I have on regular stuff. Just a black t-shirt and black jeans. Principal Trask looks me over. That's better, right? She says, and actually almost smiles at me like we're pals now or something. Principal Trask isn't good at smiling. And watch where you're going. She sniffs and brushes past me. I head to the shop, feeling awful. I don't think my costume is bad. And it sure wasn't supporting violence. Mama would never let me wear it if that had been true. And I hate how Principal Trask wanted me to agree with her that my costume was a bad idea. When I get to class, my sour mood must show all over my face because Yolanda asks me right away, what's wrong? She's dressed up like Princess Leia, and her hair is in those two huge buns. When I tell her, her eyes go really wide. That's not fair. I know, I say. Wait, Trask made you take off your costume? Tyler says, butting in. I thought it was cool. He sticks his fist up. Black power. I don't want to say that she actually made me take it off. Maybe I shouldn't have. We weren't talking to you, I tell him. And Yolanda frowns at me. I'm being a tiny bit rude. but he's being majorly rude for just busting into a conversation he wasn't invited to. Tyler laughs like I said something nice. Yeah, my bad. She's just in a bad mood because of Trask, Yolanda explains to Tyler, and he nods. Cool, cool, he says. Talk to you later. When he walks away, Yolanda sort of hisses at me. That was rude. My eyes widen in surprise. I don't think he even notices. He has feelings, Yolanda says. Everybody does. Okay, I say. Sorry. The next chapter we're going to move on to is called Squad Goals. Squad goals, the idiom we're going to look at is actually the same name as the chapter, Squad Goals. And it means when BFFs are all together and they're feeling really super cool about what it is they're doing. So, page 142. When Mama picks me up, she asks me why I'm not wearing my costume. It got too hot, I say. I don't want to tell her about Principal Trask because I bet Mama would get heated about that. All I want to do now is go home and figure out how to waste time until trick-or-treaters start showing up. I'm in that weird in-between Halloween stage. Too old to go out and get candy and too young to go to the kind of parties that Hannah goes to. Hannah and her friends have old school parties. Everyone goes to someone's house and they play a lot of music and they dance and they have fun. Isabella thought that maybe we should go to Fright Night at Six Flags, but I don't even have to ask Mama if I could go. A big N-O is what she'd have to say. I don't mind too much because walking around in the dark with zombies and monsters jumping out at you is not my kind of a good time. Sometimes I wish I could be more like my friends, but it sure seems like being brave gets people into a heap of trouble. And just thinking about that makes my hands itch. It's not so bad being stuck at home tonight. I get to pass out the candy, and the kids who come to our door are the cutest. I've seen about 20 Wonder Womans and a whole slew of Minions. Spies are big this year too, and a little girl in a tiny trench coat and dark sunglasses is absolutely hilarious. I take some snaps and I send them to Iz and Jules. Our group chat started when we all got our phones last year. It's pretty cool that I can scroll back all the way to those messages. We don't have nearly as many messages this year. Isabella is sending updates from the horror movie marathon she's watching. It's the only way I want to see a scary movie. Her saying, oh no, she doesn't see the mean doll moving behind her is enough to give me a tiny heart attack. Julia only texted once to say she ate too many Reese's Pieces and then a snap of her with a silly Halloween filter. By 9 o'clock, our porch light is off. Mama says that she doesn't want any big kids knocking on the door that late. And she tells me it's time for bed, even though I'm not the little bit tired at all. I snuggle into my flannel sheets and I flip through pictures on my phone. I'm not really supposed to be using my phone after 9, but it's way too hard to try to sleep when you're not tired. My phone buzzes with a message from Isabel. Isabel, check out Stacy's posts. Me, you're friends with Stacy? Isabella, I follow her online. I follow everybody. I have a bad feeling, but I find Stacy's profile and I click on the first post. It's a picture of her and Julia and a few other girls in their superhero costumes at Six Flags. I flip through more pictures. They're at Westwood, at someone's house, swimming. At the movies, each picture gets me more upset. I can't explain it. It's not as if I didn't know they were friends, but seeing Julia smile like that, her really, really wide smile, the one that she only does when she's having the best time ever, it makes me feel bad. And she must think there's something wrong with these pictures if she didn't post them on her own profile. Stacy makes a new post, and this one is a video. And even though I want to shut my phone off and not look anymore, I click the volume so I can hear them. And they're screaming like zombies, and they're all about to chew off their faces, and then they all shout, "Squad goals!" Seeing that makes my eyes tear up. And then my bedroom door bangs open, and there's Mama filling up the door frame. "Shayla, what are you doing?" I slide my phone under the covers, hoping to hide the glow. "Mama isn't stupid. I know you're not texting after 9. This is Mama's way to tell you she knows you're not doing the thing you are actually doing. I wipe my nose, I blink back tears, and I hope that I look really sorrowful. Maybe Mama will understand. "Hand it over, Shayla," Mama says, holding her hand out. "She can't mean it. She can't." "Mama, I'm just Shayla," she says. What can I do? I hand her my phone. She has to give up her phone. Oh my God, can you imagine having to give up your phone? I think all of you would just go crazy. What can I do? I hand her my phone. So basically my life is over. Mama doesn't understand at all. All right, the next chapter we're going to get into is chapter 27. It's titled Density. All right, page 146. Density. The quote that we're going to take a look at here is, "I thought you were just bent." Here's the slang word right here, bent. That's on page 150. And bent means that you are really super mad about something. Oh, I'm sorry. That one is for highlights. Let me back that up a little bit. We're here. We're in a funk. That's the one we're going to see. And in a funk is on page 146, and it means not feeling like yourself. So here we go. Without my phone, I'm completely cut off from the whole world. And Mama is obviously mad at me. I can't even enjoy Saturday and Sunday. After such a lousy weekend, it's no surprise that Monday starts out bad too. My favorite jeans are still in the dirty laundry hamper, and all there is for breakfast is banana yogurt. I'm in a funk the whole way to school. I pull some of my hair out of my usual sloppy bun. I straighten it to have side bangs. I thought it would be a distraction from my forehead, but the style bugs me. I pull out too much hair, so the bangs are too long, and my hair is starting to frizz already, and I bet I just look like an emu. When I get to science, I scrunch down in my seat, and I'm just waiting for the day to be over. My new lab partners today, Mr. Levy announces, and starts calling out names. I don't bother fantasizing, because where did that get me the last time? Then something amazing happens. Shayla and Jace. I have to bite the inside of my cheek to make sure that I don't make a squealy sound. I peek back at Blanard, and he scowls at me. After Mr. Levy explains the lab, I saunter back to the lab table where Jace is waiting, as if I couldn't care less that we were partners. But the closer I get to him, the bigger my smile gets. He smiles right back at me. My heart gets as big as a horse. Seriously, I have a huge stallion stomping around inside my chest. For the lab, we have to pour different substances into a big beaker to test for density. We both reach for the honey at the same time, and our hands brush. Then a few minutes later, there's this one moment when our heads get really close together, and I thank God that I brushed my teeth really good this morning. At the end of class, before I can get out of my seat, Bernard puts his heavy paw on my shoulder. "Hey, Shay," he booms. I try to get up, but Bernard has trapped me. "Maybe we'll get to be partners again." He gives my shoulder a squeeze. I bet I have a bruise. So I'd like to also comment, this chapter is called Density. And I think Shayla is dense. Like, that's also an expression to mean like you're really dense, meaning that you don't get it. And she's dense. She does not realize that Jace does not like her and that Bernard really likes her. So Shayla is literally in a funk in a bunch of different ways. So now we're going to move on to page 149, and that's the chapter called Highlights. And she says, I thought you were just bent. So the person who gets highlights in this story is Julia. She's getting some highlights so that she can match her new squad. And she talks to Shayla saying, hey, I thought you were just bent, meaning she thought that Shayla was super mad at her. So here we go, page 149. At break, Isabella and Julia are at our spot behind the portables. At first, all the bad feelings from Halloween come rushing back, but I put them away, way down. I decide it's not right for me to be mad at Julia and her friends that they went to Six Flags when I didn't even want to go. I still want to ask her about dressing up with her other friends. But I don't want to mess with the good feeling that I'm having about Jace. He'll probably be my boyfriend soon. I know better than to tell Isabella and Julia that, though. They'll think that I'm being silly. I do feel silly, but I feel silly in a really good way. Like my smile spreads out to my elbows and even my knees are happy. Are you okay? Isabella asks. Yeah, it's just, I'm going to hold on to this feeling in private. My mom caught me using my cell phone late and took it away. That definitely wipes the goofy smile off my face. Oh, that's rotten, Isabella says, and she and I exchange glances. I'm sure she knows why I was using my phone late. So that's why you didn't answer my texts, Julia says. I thought you were just bent. She flings her hair back, making it easier to see her new blue highlights. I can't even get mad at her for trying to talk like she's so down and copying Stacy's highlights. Me and Jace are lab partners now, and he smiled at me twice. That wipes away a whole heap of bad feelings. I drift off to PE thinking about Jace's green eyes and his wide smile. Even though he jokes around a lot, he's not really a smiley person, so I don't think I'm being ridiculous to think him smiling at me actually means something. I feel like I swallowed electric butterflies, and they're lighting up and swirling around all inside me. After the mile in PE, Yolanda says, you sure do like running. Her hair is twisted together on both sides, and she's huffing and puffing like we had to run 2 miles. You smiled during the whole mile. Really? I ask, giggling into my hands. We walk to the water fountain together, and I wonder if I could trust her with my secret. Even though we have 2 classes together, we never really talk about important stuff. Would she think I was being ridiculous if I told her about Jace? Hey, how come you're always so mean to Tyler? She asks all of a sudden. I'm not trying to be mean. I know I was rude to him on Halloween, but I was in a horrible mood. He's just always bothering me, though. He's just being friendly. You should cut him some slack. I've noticed that Yolanda is sort of like Isabella. Nice to everybody. I don't think that I'm a mean girl, but I'm definitely not as nice as they are. You should tell him to leave me alone. I'm only joking around, but Yolanda gets a stern expression, like I'm one of her little brothers or sisters, acting up. And she told me she has to be on them all the time. But then she smiles at me, flashing her upside-down Y. Seriously, Shayla, he's not that bad. Okay, I say. I'm not sure what I'm agreeing to. When I get to shop later, I do try to be nice to Tyler, but he's sort of, like a puppy sitting under the table. If he gets a little tiny bit of food, he's just going to beg constantly. So I don't snap at him when he gets me my shop gloves. I just say, Thanks. Yolanda rolls her eyes, and I want to tell her to make up her mind. When the final bell rings, I just about fly out of class so I can get to track practice. Those wild butterflies are back in my belly, and I can't wait to start running so that they'll go away, or at least that I'll get tired and I'll relax. I can run a mile easy now. I run and I focus on putting one foot in front of the other, and I keep going when my side pinches and my breathing sounds like a saw chomping on stacks of wood, and my hair gets hot and heavy. Running makes everything bubbling around inside twist and turn and spread out behind me like wings. Julia, hanging with her friends, trembles at the tips of my wings before twisting away into the wind. The butterflies from Jace's smile escape my belly into the air and fly away. Yolanda, wanting me to be nice to Tyler, just scatters and whirls around me like a pile of brown and orange leaves. I don't worry about anything. I just run. And then it's time to practice the hurdles. Oh, I really loved that last part on that chapter. What good language. That was really cool. All right. The next chapter we're going to be reading is called Timing. It's chapter 29 and it's on page 153. And what we're going to be looking at is some more really beautiful language. All right? This is called a simile. You use the word like to connect two things and to make a comparison. Listen to this. My anger seeps out of me like a leaky balloon. All right? It means that the anger that Shayla's feeling is seeping out like a balloon when you just let a little bit of air out and it goes. It's just leaving her very slowly. All right? So here we go. Timing, page 153. Even though I always use my lead leg now, I'm still not getting over the hurdles easily because, hello, it's hard. Coach West says my long legs will really be an advantage once I get the timing down. And I don't want to call her a liar, but sometimes getting over hurdles seems impossible. The only thing fun about it is when all the hurdlers line up and do high kicks. It's supposed to limber us up, but it feels like dancing in a chorus line. Too bad it hasn't made it easier for me to jump over the hurdles. You have to jump with your lead leg, sticking straight out like you're going to be flying into somebody's stomach, which should send you sailing right over the hurdle. My jump right now does not look like it's supposed to. It's more like a hop, leap, stumble. At least I have running clothes now. Shay, Bernard barks at me, right when I'm going over a hurdle, and he makes me trip over it. I dust off my skin knee. I'm too angry to worry about Bernard being so much bigger than me. I stand up, and my hands go to my hips. What? I ask, and I don't ask nicely. Did you ask Mr. Levy to change partners? Bernard walks up to me until he's right in my face, and I have to take a step back. No! That never would have worked. Why would you think that? You seemed really happy about it. My anger seeps out of me like a leaky balloon. Oh, I say. That's just because I liked the lab. It was fun, wasn't it? This is a dumb question because Bernard definitely did not have fun with the density lab. He and his new partner, Rebecca, spilled the olive oil all over their table. And then before they finished their lab, Bernard knocked over a whole beaker so that they actually never got to put any findings into their lab books. It would have been fun if we were still partners. He walks away with his head sort of down. I almost want to run after him, but I don't know what I'd say. I really like having Jace as a partner now. I dreamed about it. I can't tell Bernard that. I also can't seem to get the hurdles down. And it's like getting so frustrating. Angie makes it look easy. Coach West watches as I struggle to get over the hurdles. I bet she's thinking that she made a big mistake assigning me to that event. A hurdle trips me up. I stumble to the ground. Maybe a track made of recycled tires is softer to run on, but it still hurts when you fall on it. I climb to my feet and I rest my hands on my knees, breathing hard and trying to keep the burn behind my nose from becoming tears. After practice, Coach West tells me to huddle up. We don't have a real track meet until track season starts. But I thought it would be good for our newcomers to see what it might feel like. She smiles at me and my mouth goes dry. So I have invited Oak Junior High out for a preseason meet. It's going to be fun and we're going to have 2 whole weeks to get ready for it. Coach West is smart, but she doesn't know what she's talking about. A practice meet does not sound like fun, and 2 weeks isn't nearly enough time. All right, so now we're going to move on to page 30, chapter 30, face plant. And what we kind of are seeing in chapter 29 is Shayla is starting to lose some of her anger towards Bernard. I think she's starting to understand him a little bit more. And here we are into face plant. And the idiom you're going to hear is easy as pie. And that is a metaphor. When you say something as something else, it's a comparison saying it's easy as pie, that it's very easy. And I guess when you think about pie, pie is really easy to eat because it's so delicious. So that must be where they got that idiom from. So here we go, page 156, face plant. Today is the preseason track meet. Everybody in the whole school is here. That's what it feels like anyway. Posters have been up for days advertising it, and each time I saw one, I wanted to tear it down. The kids from Oak seem to be way too hyped up, considering this meet doesn't even count. I line up for my first race, the 100-meter hurdles. My stomach is aching in that crampy way that means I'm about to get my period. And my palms itch so bad, it's like fire ants are biting me. I rock back and forth on the blocks to get myself ready. I take a deep breath before settling in. When I hear one of the coaches from Oak call, "Set!" I make sure I don't move anymore, and I just wait for the starting pistol. There's a moment right after set is called when it feels like the whole world stops, as if everything alive holds its breath. Blood pounds in my ears, and my mouth goes really dry. But when the starter pistol pops, I take off, thinking, okay, this is going to be great. I go over the first hurdle, easy as pie, just like in practice. I take one step, then another, and I'm over the next hurdle. Then I'm not counting steps, I'm just going. And I sail over the third hurdle. And it rattled down when I hit it, but no big deal. That happens all the time. And then there comes the fourth and the fifth. And then it's a bit of a blur. And then, bam! I'm flat on my face with a hurdle on my back. The 6th hurdle, to be exact. And I'm probably going to die. Or maybe I'm dead. Except I hear laughter coming from the stands. There are times when I hear people laughing and I think they're laughing at me, but really they aren't. This isn't one of those times. Coach West comes over and she helps me up. Happens all the time, Shayla, all the time. Don't let it break you. I feel broken in so many pieces. I can't figure out how to put myself back together. I slowly get to my feet. I dust myself off. And I start to limp off the track. I figure people won't laugh so hard if they think I've twisted an ankle or something. Shayla, where are you going? What? I'm going to go sit down. I stop when I see the surprised look on Coach West's face. You still have a race to finish. You're not hurt, are you? She's asking. But I can tell there's only one answer. I look down the track. The rest of the girls have finished. of course, and now it's just Coach West, the track, 4 more hurdles, and me. I still have to finish? Don't you want to? I start to shake my head because, no, I do not want to. But there's something about my coach's expression that stops me. I can feel sweat beating up on my forehead. That's a lot of sweat. Trust me, Shayla. You should finish. You really should. She leans forward and her whistle glints into the sun. She gives me a little pat and she whispers, "Get up every time you fail." I don't care if he's the one who really said it or not. Right now, I sort of hate Ralph Waldo Emerson. I turn back to face the enemy, and I start limping my way towards the 7th hurdle. At first, the stand seems scarily quiet, and then I hear Julia shout, "Yeah, Shayla!" As I stumble over the remaining hurdles, I can hear people cheering, and I feel for a second like one of those football players who goes down for a hard hit and everyone worries that he's paralyzed or something, and then he gets up and the crowd goes wild. It isn't exactly like that, but at least I'm able to smile when I cross the finish line. Coach West comes running up. "See? What did I tell you?" She beams at me. So I smile back at her. But then she says, "You still have the 400. Are you going to be able to run it?" I gulp. The last thing I want to do is run another race. I'm not sure. My ankle doesn't feel great. I bent over and I rub my ankle. Coach West just smiles and pats me on the shoulder before running off to deal with some other runner. I bet she knows I'm faking. I head to the grass in the middle of the track, and Angie comes over and sits down next to me. "You all right?" I'm sure Coach West sent her over to check on me, but it still feels nice for Angie to be sitting next to me, like we're friends. "Yeah, just a little." My voice trails off, and I rub my ankle some more. I wish I had one of those long ace bandages to wrap around it. That would totally make me look too hurt to run. "That was a hard fall," she says. I just nod. The grass is crunchy beneath me and scratches my legs. "Must have been embarrassing." She stretches out her right leg in front of her and bends over to touch her toes. "Totally." For some reason, saying it out loud, it makes me feel better, and I smile. "I've fallen too. No biggie. Everybody falls doing hurdles. I can't imagine Angie ever falling." Angie switches her legs around to stretch her left leg. "You were doing good up until then." "How would you know? You were blazing way ahead of me." True, Angie does this thing I've seen her do when she smiles that looks just like a cat about to catch a big bird. It's sneaky and proud smile. "You're really good at hurdles," I say. "Well, you're getting better," Angie says. "You and the other newbies are working hard. I bet you were definitely going to finish, at least 5th. Angie gives me a soft punch on the shoulder to show she's kidding around. "Oh, thanks." I nudge her with my toe. So there I was, running as hard as I could, losing, and then wham. I laugh. She laughs too. It was kind of funny. "Are you saying you were laughing at me?" "With you," she says, and gives my foot a nudge. "And you got up and finished. That was great." "I guess Coach made me feel like I had to," I admitted. "But you didn't have to." Angie pauses for a moment. "So are you ready for the 400? Now I'm positive that Coach West sent her over to talk to me. I don't answer. I'm feeling good now. Why ruin it? All right, so that was a great chapter about Shayla really developing some inner strength and, getting up and finishing that race, even though she felt, flat on her face. That's what we call a face plant, when your face literally goes right into the dirt. In life also, we can take, figurative face plants, when we really try to do something risky and it doesn't work out and we feel like, we just planted our face into the ground. All right. The next chapter is 31 and it's called bounce. And the idiom that you're going to hear in here, the slang word that you're going to hear in here is crushing on you. Someone crushing on you. And that means like when you have a crush or you're crushing on someone, it means you have new feelings of like love for them. Maybe not strong love, but like the beginning feelings of love. Bounce. Before I can figure out what I'm going to do, Bernard is standing there looking down at me. Oh, great, I groan to myself. You okay, Shay? He asks. Yeah, I'm fine, I say. I thought you were going to win, he says. Thanks, Angie says sarcastically. Bernard blinks a few times, looking back and forth between me and Angie, and then he grins like he's just getting the joke. A smiling Bernard looks just the same as a scowling one. Angie stands up and offers me her hand. We gots to go, big boy. Have to get ready for our next events. Right, Shayla? Yep, I say. When we're out of earshot of Bernard, Angie bumps into me. Looks like you got someone crushing on you. What? I almost trip over the grass. If she had said Bernard wanted to crush me, I would have believed that. But crushing on me? Like he likes me? That's almost scarier. We find Coach West, and I tell her I'm good to go. She doesn't even look surprised. She just turns to Angie. So what are you doing here? Don't you have a long jump to do? Scoot. Angie gives me a thumbs up and runs off to the sand pit. Okay, Shayla, they're lining up for your race, Coach West tells me. Just stay loose, okay? She smiles at me like she actually thinks I can do that, but no part of me is loose. I even think my blood is tight. I clench my teeth. When I get to my spot, my palms start itching. I rub them together, but that doesn't help. It never helps. The gun pops, making me jump. I try to find a nice, steady pace, but I feel like a mangled robot, all out of sorts and jerky. As I round the first bend, I almost stumble. Wouldn't that have been nice? By the time I get to the straightaway, I'm in 5th place, but closing in on the girls right ahead of me. I decide, what the heck? So I push myself as hard as I can, and I pass the girl ahead of me. Then I close in on the girl who had been ahead of her. And then I finish 4th. Isabella and Julia give me high fives right after the meet. You were great, Shay, Isabella says. You fell with so much grace, Julia says and giggles. You've got style. Shut up, I say, but I giggle too. Still laughing, Julia adds, sorry, my bad. That makes me laugh harder. Then Isabella starts, and it really feels like old times. The 3 of us laughing at something that isn't even funny. Julia says in a rapping, sing-song voice, today you took an L, but tomorrow you'll bounce back. Isabella sings, bounce back, bounce back. The 3 of us do this bouncing move we made up. It's pretty great having friends who can make you smile even after something awful. And then Stacy comes over, and my smile dribbles away. Nice faceplant, bro, she says. And Julia laughs. She laughs. Like instead of telling Stacy not to be a jerk. And the laughter doesn't feel at all like it just did a minute ago. I still think not falling in the first place has got to be better than getting up after you fail. I never knew laughter could sound different and feel so different depending on who's doing the laughing. All right. So, we're finding out for sure that Bernard is crushing on Shayla. But I think we knew that from chapter 1. I think we figured that out. So now we're moving on to chapter 32. That's called Everybody Dance Now. And there's a song that used to go, Everybody Dance Now. So guess what? They're going to a dance. All right. Page 166. Now that it's been a while since that awful practice meet, people have stopped teasing me about how gracefully I fall. Alex, of course, still thinks it's spectacularly funny to pretend to trip almost every time he sees me. But his goofiness, it doesn't bother me today because it's the last day before winter break. 2 whole weeks off. We don't go back to school until after the first of the year. And to celebrate, there's a dance in the gym. Even though Julia has been saying how dumb the dance will probably be, I'm excited. Maybe I'll get to dance with Jace. He hasn't thrown any more smiles my way, but at least we're still lap partners. Isabella's mom is dropping Isabella and Julia off so that we can all go to the dance together, and then afterwards they're both going to sleep over. The sleepover will just be like old times, and I'm probably more excited for it than the dance. It's weird at school now because ever since Halloween, Julia, she just hangs out with her other friends at break and a lot instead of me and Isabella. And she calls them her squad. Isabella and I pretend like, that it doesn't bother us, but I'm sure it hurts Iz's feelings just like mine. At least Julia sits with us at lunch. Miss Alvarez comes to the door to say hi to Mama. I love Miss Alvarez. She's always telling the 3 of us how strong we are, which is all kinds of hilarious considering what a softie Isabella is. Her accent makes her sound like this movie star Mama likes, and Miss Alvarez actually looks like she could be a movie star. I guess I shouldn't have been so surprised, like when Isabella turned out to be hiding this whole bunch of beautiful under her unibrow and braces. Mama and Miss Alvarez chat for what seems like forever, while Isabel and Julia and I make funny faces at each other. We can't go off to my room yet because Miss Alvarez needs to give Isabella a lecture first. It's their thing. Miss Alvarez gives Mama a big hug, then she starts in on Isabella. I don't actually know what she's saying because she's talking in Spanish, but I can tell by her tone and by Isabella's face that it's definitely a lecture. At the end of it, though her mom gives her a big hug, maybe Miss Alvarez is really a big softie just like her daughter. What are we going to do with these girls? She asks Mama, and they both shake their heads and sigh. I'm sure we're going to hear all about how tragic it is that we're growing up. Luckily this time, Miss Alvarez just gives Isabella a quick kiss. Adios, she tells us. Be good. Finally, we can escape to my room. What did your mom tell you? I asked Isabella. And not to dance too close to any boys. Not to dance too, Isabella starts dancing sort of wild, making me and Julia crack up. She spins out of control and she makes herself fall, and I give her a hand up, telling her, back up. She smooths down her dress and adds, and she said to stand up for myself. She thinks I don't do that. Isabella doesn't look at us when she says that last part. Next time she tells you to clean your room, tell her no. And then when she gets mad, you tell her you're just standing up for yourself, Julia jokes. Isabella and I just shake our heads at Julia. We all look so cute, Isabella says. All 3 of us got our dresses from the same rack at Kohl's, so we're dressed pretty much the same. It's not exactly a fancy dance, but we know enough to dress nice. Julia snaps pictures of me and Isabella, and then Isabella pulls her phone out and takes more. We all crowd together, and we take some selfies. I wish I had my phone so I could take pictures too. Let me see them, I ask Julia, but she nudges Isabella. Show her yours, she says. As I flip through all the pictures, I notice how plain I look next to my friends. You guys are so lucky you get to wear makeup, I say. They only have on eye makeup, but I'm still jealous. Isabella is faint, just a swipe of shiny bronze, but Julia's is bright, sparkly blue. And it doesn't seem fair that my friends have different rules about makeup. I wonder if Hannah's advice about sneaking makeup to school applies to school dances. I think about Jace being there and how great Isabella looks, and I think about how I don't have my phone back, and so it would be really stupid to get in trouble. But then you know what? I end up putting some of Hannah's eye makeup, eyeshadow, mascara, lip gloss, and blush into my purse. Not that many girls carry purses in junior high school. But I got my period back in elementary school, and I got caught one day without any supplies. It was super embarrassing to have to ask the school secretary to help me out. Now I always carry a purse when I don't have my backpack. In the car, Julia scoots close to me and asks in a loud whisper, "You gonna ask Jace to dance, Shay?" "Yeah, right." I cut my eyes at her. "Who?" Mama asks, peering at me in the rearview mirror before focusing back on the road. I knew she would pick up on some boy mention. "Nobody, Mama," I say. "And this nobody is called Jace? What kind of name is that?" "Mama?" "I'm just saying." Mama taps her fingernails on the steering wheel and doesn't say anything for a few minutes. I should have known she was loading her ammunition. "Now let me tell you something, girls," she starts, and I bite my sigh way back. "All three of you are too young to be fooling around with boys. Plenty of time for all of that." "We know, Miss Willows," Julia says in her best "I'm the sweetest, most obedient child ever" voice. "You all better know," Mama says. Mama tells me the same thing, Isabella says. When we get to the gym, kids are lined up outside waiting to get checked in. Mama lets us out of the car and she says, "I'll be back at 10. I'm so happy she isn't chaperoning. I almost start dancing right there, but I don't. Once we get inside, we head to the bathroom so I can freshen up. My eyes look bigger with eyeshadow and mascara, which does seem to make my forehead look smaller. We get drinks from the snack table and I look around for Jace. I don't see him anywhere. Then Julia's squad comes over and grabs her, pulling her onto the dance floor with them. So much for it being the three of us. Isabella and I start dancing with each other. My head bops to the music and I swing around. But that's not part of my dancing. I keep an eye out for Jace. It's never occurred to me that he might not even come to the dance. Boys shuffle around the edge of the room. Must be hard for them. They can't just dance together like girls can. That doesn't make a lick of sense. And then suddenly, there's Jace. And I feel like maybe I have asthma or something because it's hard to breathe. He starts dancing right next to me. The makeup must have done the trick. But then I realize that although he's dancing next to me, he's actually dancing with Isabella. It feels like someone just dumped a bucket of ice cold water on my head. I stop dancing and I walk back to the snack table. A minute later, Isabella joins me. "Hey, you left me." She's a little bit out of breath. I look back at the dance floor. "Where's Jace?" "I thought you guys were dancing." Isabella picks up a cup of tiny pretzels. "He was just, dancing next to us, Shayla, and then I know what happened. I was there." I eye the snack table. Pretzels, goldfish, cookies, it all looks terrible. "Then why'd you walk off?" Isabella asks, munching on a pretzel. I can't believe she can eat at a time like this. "Why do you care?" My voice sounds all trembly, and that makes me mad. "Isn't he a good dancer? You should have just kept dancing with him. He obviously wanted to dance with you, but Isabella stops and looks down at her cup, like the great excuse she might have for dancing with the boy I like might be hiding in there. Someone touches my elbow. "Hey, Shayla, you wanna dance?" I know who it is before I even turn around. "Hi, Tyler," I say, and only because I'm mad and I don't want to stand next to Isabella right now, I say, "Sure." The gym has gotten crowded with kids dancing and Tyler pulls me right into the middle. All of a sudden, a group of boys run up shouting, "Command! Command!" at Tyler. I forgot about the stupid game. I cross my fingers quick even though I'm not playing. I don't think Tyler has anything crossed, but he doesn't look worried. If that wasn't a huge clue, my itchy hands should have been. We command you to kiss Shayla. Paul Childress crows. But I'm not playing, I yelp. So Tyler is, Paul says. If he doesn't kiss you, we get to pound him. I never liked Paul. Yeah, sorry, Tyler says. I can tell he isn't sorry at all. My face is blazing. Oh my goodness. So, what happened right there? She's about to get kissed by Tyler. OMG, right? But here's the idiom that we're learning in this one called freshened up. Oh my goodness. Shayla is being so rebellious. She took all of her sister's makeup. She went to the bathroom and she freshened up her face with makeup. That's what it means. To freshen up means to improve your appearance. Oh my goodness, this is exciting. Let's get to chapter 33 and see what happens here. This is called Chapped Lips. Before I can say anything, Tyler kisses me. I'm not talking about a peck on the cheek. His mouth is like smothering mine. I don't really have a lot of kissing experience. Okay, you know what? I have no experience. But I sure know this isn't a nice kiss. It's slobbery, and even he must have had a mint, so at least his breath isn't bad. His lips are chapped and they're scratchy. I'm so busy analyzing it, I don't pull away in a hurry like I should, and instead just stand there with my mouth like locked onto him. A whistle blows, and Coach West breaks us apart. None of that. None of that. She looks sternly at us, and I want to crawl under the floor. Then she blows her whistle one more time, and she walks away. Tyler runs off laughing and high-fiving his boys. I feel like I've gone way up high on the Sierras or maybe up in a plane, and my ears are like totally clogged up and I can't hear, and my head is heavy. Shay, Isabella says, dashing over to me. What was that? It was just a command. My ears won't pop, and my voice sounds like I'm underwater. Maybe it's all the tears that feel like they're gurgling around in my throat. I thought you weren't playing, Isabella says. Why didn't you say no? Like you know about saying no. I say. My head hurts like someone is squeezing it. I want to sink into a hole. Why are you mad at me? Isabella asks, all shocked, as if she really doesn't know. I'm not sure what to tell her, but before I can tell her anything, Bernard is standing like right next to me asking me to dance, and the night is officially the worst ever. Fine, I tell him. I'd rather dance with Bernard than admit to Isabella I'm mad that she's so pretty and that Jace danced with her. Bernard frowns at me while we're dancing. He bites his lip. Then he opens his mouth like he's going to say something, and then he closes it again. Finally, he asks, I saw you with Tyler and all. What's up with that? I step to the left, I step to the right, I snap my fingers, I turn around. I don't want to talk about that kiss anymore, or ever again. Are you guys talking or what? Bernard barks at me. Because I can't tell if his expression is angry or sad, so I shrug at his question. I shrug like it's a dance move I just invented. Angie telling me Bernard might have a crush on me wasn't any type of good news. If I tell him me and Tyler aren't talking, does that mean he's going to try to be talking to me? And how could I tell him I'm not interested without making him mad? Bernard says, that's cool, as if I actually answered him. But he doesn't sound like he thinks it's cool. You like him? No. But Mama says, if you don't have anything nice to say, just keep your little mouth shut. Saying I don't like Tyler seems mean. Well, Tyler's nice, I say. Dang, is all Bernard says. But it's enough. Enough for me to realize I'm pretty dumb to not have noticed that maybe Bernard does like me a little and maybe hasn't wanted to punch me, and maybe a shudder goes up and down my back. Maybe if he had thought of it, he might have commanded someone for him to kiss me. I don't want to talk the rest of the song. All right. So that's the end. We read Chapped Lips. So Tyler had all kinds of chapped lips when he kissed Shayla. And then Bernard comes up and asks his Shayla to dance. And then he asks her, like, are you guys talking or what? And we all know that talking means starting to get into a relationship. So isn't this interesting? Shay has got two boys interested in her, but isn't it ironic she's not interested in either of those boys? Of course, she's interested in the boy that's not interested in her. This is sort of a typical thing that happens in life. We all seem to want the person that doesn't seem to want us back. We could all learn something from this. I think that Shayla should stop chasing after Chase. Just my opinion. All right. I hope you enjoyed that, and see you in school.